Breaking news, my country people. The 5 billion naira palliative is renewed nonsense. Atiku's aide, Bwala, has blasted President Tinubu. My country people, this matter na very serious one. An aide to Atiku Abubakar, the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Bwala, has described President Bwala Tinubu's administration's 5 billion palliative as renewed nonsense. Bwala made the remark while noting that the organized labor talked about the 5 billion palliative to state government. He noted that the calculation by the organized labor showed that each person would get 1,500 from the palliative. Tweeting, Bwala wrote, "The organized labor has demystified the so-called 5 billion naira palliative the federal government gave to states. First, the federal government of Nigeria said it was a palliative, and now they are saying it's a loan. The organized labor further did their own arithmetical calculation and arrived at a shameful conclusion that this so-called 5 billion naira palliative comes down to 1,500 per person. Now, how much is the cost of food items in the market? What a renewed nonsense. The federal government had announced plans to release 5 billion naira as palliative to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. And when you want to, calculate this 5 billion naira, it will end up getting to the hands of Nigerians, 5,000 per person. And the government has said, okay, it would be 8,000 naira. But now, inside that money that they budgeted for the, for the palliative, they said each state will get 5 billion naira. Now, how many millions of people are in a state? When you divide that money, when you divide that 180 billion naira, then they arrived at a figure that highest it would be 2,000 naira per person in this country. So, this is just the official statistics of the government. Now many people have done their own calculation. The NLC, they've done their own. They said last, one person go either carry 2K or 1.5 go house for this palliative. And they talked about sharing rice to people. Now, if you calculate how many people there for this country, last, one person go carry 1 cup of rice go house. How they want to do this matter? So, my country people, Bwala, an aide to the presidential candidate of the PDP in the last general elections, Atiku Abubakar, has weighed in on the Nigeria Labour Congress, the NLC, reaction to the 5 billion naira palliative to be given to each state. Nigeria News recalls that the NLC, while reacting to the palliative, optioned that state governors could not be trusted with such a large amount of money, added that no committee was established to ensure the successful implementation of the initiative. The NLC president, Joe Ajoro, said the federal government was about sharing 2,000 naira and a cup of rice with poor people across the country. Ajoro said 5 billion naira multiplied by 36 states is going to give you 180 billion. So, if you divide that with the official figures from the National Bureau of Statistics, which says 133 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor, and when you calculate it, you will get about 2,000 naira each for those people who are poor. This is the official statistics of the government. But you and I know that the actual figure is far much more than that. So, is that what you want to celebrate? And then 5 trucks of what? Rice to a state. The poor people of this state cannot get even 1 cup of rice because it won't go round. If you want to calculate it, it won't go round. 5 trucks of rice, and you said you want to share to the people. If you even see 1 cup, you thank God. Because even if you pick them from the poverty bucket, it will be difficult for them to get 1 cup of rice. So, is that the best we can do? Is that the best approach for governance? So, do we look at our people as people we should give 1 cup of rice and 2,000 naira? Is that what you call palliative, federal government? Now, wetin una dey call palliative? Reacting to the NLC stance via a Twitter post, Bwala stated that the organized labor had, demystified the 5 billion naira palliative. According to him, the organized labor had demystified the so-called 5 billion naira palliative the federal government gave to the states. First, the government said it was a palliative. Now they are saying it's a loan. The organized labor, they further did their own calculation and arrived at a shameful conclusion that the so-called 5 billion naira palliative comes down to 1,500 naira per person. Now, how much is the cost of food items in the market? My country people, a lot of Nigerians have reacted to this. The present African leaders, they lack productive ideas to bring about needed development. What is palliative? Medicine after death. It is a big insult to the suffering masses. But most of them have often claimed that they've acquired different certificates abroad and around the world, yet their democratic leadership remain very poor. And why? The current economic hardship was a direct result of a very poor democratic leadership at all levels. So, how could palliative be a solution to the very poor leadership that subjected over 133 million Nigerians to multi-dimensional poverty? In a country blessed with abundant natural resources, we have so many resources capable of ending this monster called poverty. The often ideas of palliative by the so-called democratic leadership at all levels is equivalent to a lack of patriotism, which unfolds the symptoms of sickness of our society, directly not compatible with democracy. And then you see, this 5 billion naira that could be channeled to a sector, at least it will benefit a good number of people. For instance, school buses can be bought to take children to and fro to school. At least it will reduce the burden of transporting the children to school as a sort of relief. They can also provide seedlings to farmers, free books, writing materials. But now, this is what they want to do. Well, guys, these are some few reactions from Nigerians. As it dey be like this, my country people, wetin 1,500 or 2,000 one rich person take do for this country? I believe the government can do better than this. But at last, look at the situation we found ourselves in. So now, so they want to do us. They want share 1,500, 2,000, give people where they hungry with one cup of rice. That's what they call palliative. Nigeria, it will be well, oh. It shall be well in this country. So guys, I'm dropping here. Kindly share your thoughts on this in the comment section. Thank you. Bye for now.